Well. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the MaxBang. My name is Max. This is I guess we're going to still call it a MaxBang. What is this thing? This is the channel. This is the channel where I like to do like a half an hour of sort of uninterrupted chit chat, grab a cup of coffee, chill out, hang out. I wanted to get back to this during quarantine, but I really couldn't for a lot of reasons. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement for a second, just because it's hard to do anything right now without addressing what's going on. If you've been living under a rock, I don't think I need to explain the movement. I think you guys know what's going on, but it's been an overwhelming show of support for the lives of Black people, almost like that those lives matter. It was a little weird for me. A lot of people hit me up and they were like, yo man, what's going on? Like, you got to say your piece on this. And I was like, I don't have to say my piece on anything. I'm not a Black dude. I'm not like, I've never felt, racially discriminated against. It's certainly not in the way that I think a lot of the Black folks in America, and I'm sure around the world, but specifically America, dealing with police. I mean, they've had to deal with shit I can't even imagine. And more than anything, it felt like I should listen more than do anything. But a lot of people were like, Leo, we want to get your take. Where do you stand? Are you Black Lives Matter? Or are you All Lives Matter? First of all, I 100% support the movement. I can't even imagine this is a real thing. I can't even imagine like that racists are still like kicking around. It's a whole thing, but I more than anything felt like I don't think my voice was the voice that needed to be heard. So I kind of just took that opportunity to shut the fuck up and listen. I tried to make it clear that I was a supporter, I guess, and I posted a lot of videos that I thought were really either inspiring or powerful or educational or whatever on my Instagram or my Twitter or whatever, just so that like the voices that I thought needed to be heard, I think that happened. The voices that needed to be heard were heard, are heard moving forward. I didn't honestly really think that my voice was one of them, but I know there was a couple of videos. And there was a couple of videos that blew it out of the water that like absolutely killed it. Amazing videos. Hasan had a really good video that I loved. Trevor Noah had probably the best one overall. And it was crazy. He just did it like seemingly off the cuff on his phone. Insane. Dave Chapelle just put one out today. That was amazing. So anyway, go check those out. And if you can donate or whatever. It's been a weird few weeks for me, and I'm sure it's been a weird 400 years for the Black population. I'm laughing only because, more than anything, I laugh at like my own, like how big this is, and how I don't feel at all like it's not even like, I don't feel like an authority. Obviously, I'm not an authority, but I try to educate myself as much as I can. Stay up to date on current events and whatever. But yeah, more than anything, I felt like I'd like to sort of ally myself with the movement, but not like take up the airwaves or whatever, because there were so many other people with so much more firsthand experience with like important shit to say, more informed people. So anyway, that was my approach. Hopefully that worked. And hopefully you guys know that it's just bizarre that this is an argument, like, you don't like racism? Have you ever seen a movie? Like, have you seen, you want to be a Nazi? Have you seen like any Indiana Jones? Like, do you know who the bad guys are in movies? Do you understand what the fuck is going on here? Like, it's widely accepted that racism is not a cool thing. Being a Nazi is not a cool thing. Like, like violence against women, and like I don't understand. I don't know. And again, maybe that's my privilege or insensitivity or whatever shining through. But I thought a lot of these things seemed self-evident, which is why it's so jarring when people are on the total opposite end of the spectrum and like violently so, So anyway, it's a little scary, but I think hopefully the movement's picking up steam and getting things done, and hopefully it changes things for the better and for the permanent. But yeah, I mean, it's been a weird quarantine, I think. The reason I'm doing this now is that getting back to the MaxBang was definitely something that I wanted to do in quarantine. I think like a lot of people, I had a lot of goals for quarantine. First of all, remember COVID-19? Remember how it's like still a global pandemic killing 100,000 people in America and super dangerous. But anyway, one of my goals for quarantine was to get back to this MaxBang. I mean, I had a million goals. Super jacked, million pull-ups a day, obviously. Read 15 books a day, obviously. Yoga, meditation. Have I done any of those? No. I think like a lot of people, I approach quarantine as like, oh, this is a really good opportunity. I'm going to get all this shit done. And really what it's been is like, I have to survive in any way that I can without seeing my family, without seeing my friends, without going out and blowing off steam the way that I'm normally used to, whether that's at the bar, or at the gym, or fucking on a roller coaster. I don't know. Spoilers, I hate roller coasters, so that's kind of a bad example. But yeah, quarantine quickly went from like, I'm going to crush this to holy moly, I have to figure out how to like get through this and survive. So this was something that I meant to do, and now I'm like, my checklist is still getting ticked off. I'm just about 6 months behind on everything, story of my life. One thing I did do that I'm very excited about was I started a real podcast with my friend Allie Spagnola called Total Fitheads. Total Fitheads. We interview people about fitness and all sorts of the different kinds of fitness. We did yesterday. We did the fittest men's health trainer, fittest trainer in America. Before that, we did a new company called Levels that does a continuous blood glucose monitor. It's fucking insane. We did yoga people. We got a gymnast lined up. We got a Krav Maga guy. Really cool stuff. Definitely go check it out if you're into fitness or health in any way at all. I'm really, really psyched about that. So anyway, I'm getting back to this. I'm really fucking excited about doing the podcast. Honestly, like I just want to do something where I want to have an unedited conversation with you and sort of create a sense of community a little bit, so we can sort of talk about stuff that is important or that we're into, or that you're wondering about. If I can help you in any way, I'm happy to. Ooh, speaking of, looks like somebody got a text message. Oh, you mean, shut up. This is my new phone. Shout out to LG for sending me a new phone. It's so sick. It's a dual screen phone. So like this screen works and that screen works. You can literally do two stuff at once, which is great for the incredibly disorganized, incredibly easy distracted person. It's a sick camera. It's a great phone. Like I made fun of it. I made fun of myself for hating on Android phones for so long, but they're both awesome. The camera on this is like spectacular. And I've been watching a little Gossip Girl, and they all have flip phones. And I think that's so funny that they're like, really? Fine, you're done. Flip. And I'm like, damn, that was sick. When you could like clap a phone in somebody's face as like an exclamation point. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, I have a flip phone. So anyway, just fucking, I'll see you at Riverdale or whatever the hell school is called. Boom. Face. It's a little bit of a silly phone, and it's fucking huge. It's like I'm carrying a laptop in my pocket, but I like it. What happened to my regular phone? So glad you asked. I used to be an iPhone guy. Probably will go back to being an iPhone guy, although I gotta tell you, this phone is winning me over. I had my iPhone in my pocket, and I was tackled into a swimming pool. So iPhone got a little wet. And then iPhone stopped working. Put it in rice, and it did work for a little while. I could make calls, and the buttons worked and all that shit. But and I could charge it. But then about a week later, it sort of crapped out. So I sent it in to get repaired. Thank God I had this backup phone. Shout out to LG. Oddly enough, I thought the whole thing with the new iPhone was that it was waterproof. Wasn't that the whole thing? There was like a super high def pic of a slow-mo phone falling straight into some water. I'm pretty sure that was a big deal iPhone. Kind of annoying. Also, I have to point out that if you ever accidentally click the box that says this phone has been stolen, like I did, then you have to spend about 48 hours and you can't do anything with or without your phone, and it doesn't turn on and nothing works. So that's a big heads up warning. And my last piece that I want to touch on, which is I think very sort of important, is that the way when you trade in your new phone, a lot of people think like, oh shit, I got to go to the Apple store, I got to go to the Verizon store, I got to do whatever. When they change over your old phone to your new phone, they literally just take a SIM card. They take one of these little tools here that looks like a small end of a paperclip, and they just pop the SIM card out and put it in the new phone, and that's it. It takes 30 seconds. You don't have to go to the Verizon store. Excuse me, you don't have to go to the fucking Apple store. You can just do it. And I think that a lot of people sort of don't know that. So if you do, you're ahead of the game. So what have I been up to? One thing that I did that I was really excited about as I went and filmed a video. I know most of the stuff's been shut down, but we did it sort of a bare bones, safe way. I filmed a video for a protein company called Transparent Labs. Transparent Labs does pre-workout and protein powder and super greens and all this stuff. And it's really, really good, actually. If you want to have a link, I'll put it in the description below. I filmed another video for a protein company. I did one about 3 or 4 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was awesome. And it was a fake infomercial for a new protein company, and it opens like this. There's me, and then there's the spokesperson named Will Rubio, super funny, talented guy. Will goes, "Meet Max. Max is a meathead." And then it's me, and I'm curling a literal dumbbell made of literal meat. And I go, "Gains, bro!" I take a big old bite out of the meat dumbbell. And it was disgusting, but also hilarious. And the video did really well. And it was something I was like really psyched about. I did actually take a bite out of the meat dumbbell. It was crazy. What can I say? I'm an artiste. And I went back and did it again, another version of the video, and it was super, super fun. And I did a couple things that I was really proud of. One thing in particular that basically made the entire trip a success, and that was this. What I did was I've been trying. I've never kept a diary or a journal or anything like that. It's not like my thing. I've tried it a million times. I'd never keep doing it. And I never like look back and do it either. That's like even more psycho. But what I did was I wrote down everything I could remember about the first time I did this video with these guys. I wrote down everything that went well. I wrote down the things like I kind of fucked up. I wrote down things that had no effect on me, but were kind of interesting, like kind of, oh, funny. And I noticed that there was one thing in particular. There was a couple things that I like wish I had done better. That just by writing them down, it made me do a lot better the second time. I like could keep a heads up for it. For example, a lot of times when you're shooting these videos, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of time between, like when I get up and do my thing, then I sit down. Then there's like anywhere from 1 minute to 1 hour of me just sitting around doing nothing. And it's all I really have to do is match my energy and intensity from the last time. Because if I don't, it fucks everything up. And there's no excuse to not have that same energy or to not have energy again. Why? That's the job. It doesn't matter if you've been sitting around for an hour. It doesn't matter if you haven't eaten all day. It doesn't matter if you just had to do this other thing that was super pain in the ass. Like your job is to get up there and perform again and have energy and be excited about it no matter what. And so that's one thing that I did really well. One thing that I remember that I kind of fucked up last time, I wrote this down specifically, and it was great because a similar thing came up the second time. One thing that happened was I was supposed to be in this one sort of pivotal scene. Excuse me. I was supposed to be in this one sort of pivotal scene in the video. And at the last second, they were like, "Oh, Max, get out of here. We don't need you for this scene." And I was like pissed, I was pissed because I was like, man, I really want to be in this. Is the most important part. Like, what the fuck? I thought, like, what am I doing here if I'm not like super pivotal? I'm like busting my ass here, blah, blah, blah. And I it was a group of guys that like I sort of knew, but it was my first time really working with them. I didn't know them super, super well. And so I was like, these guys are all out to get me. And they're, I just got into my own head about it. And I realized that, not that day, but after the fact, I realized that took me out of the moment, and that made me like not do quite as good of a job as I should have done. And in reality, I should have just been like, you don't need me for this scene? Perfect. Like, I don't need to be in every scene for everything to be great. I just want this video to be great, and I want my contribution to be as great as, I want to kill it in what I'm contributing. And I thought about that quite a bit, and I was like, damn, dude, you let like one sort of little thing get you out of it, mess with your head, and then you were kind of useless for, thank God it was like sort of the end of that day of filming, because if it gone any longer, I would have just like actually messed something up. Thank God it didn't mess up the video. So flash forward to the second time I'm doing this, the retime, and I'm writing these things down. I'm like, have energy, make sure you're present, like, make sure you like know all the stuff you're supposed to do, be as professional as you can, blah, blah, blah. And don't let anything don't let a curveball like get you off your game, essentially. Wish I knew like a better way to say that. And wouldn't you know it, another thing happened where there was this scene that was like kind of fucking gross. It was like a couple of bigger dudes, and they were eating out of a trough like a pig, and like with just their mouths. And so the makeup lady put like a bunch of sticky shit, like food shit on their mouths, and it was gross. And at the last second they were like, "Oh yeah, Max, why don't we get you in here?" And I didn't really want to do it because it was gross, and I didn't really want to do it because they put makeup on him, and it was sticky and sort of, and not to be an asshole, but I have a beard and a mustache, and putting sticky shit on my face is annoying right now. It's annoying to get out. Like when I had to wash it out, spoilers, I did it. I had to shampoo it twice, like it was a real ordeal. So I was like, I don't want to fucking do this. Fuck bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And then I remembered like, hey, dummy, this is one of those things that's like taking you out of your groove or whatever. Like, take a second, catch your breath, and then like get back out there, because this is exactly what you wanted to avoid happening. And it was crazy. I mean, I did okay. Thank God I didn't ruin anything again. Or I thank God I didn't ruin anything with my attitude or whatever. But it was crazy to be like, oh, this is probably going to happen. You should watch out for it. And then the exact thing happened, and I watched out for it. Super fun. So anyway, that was the sort of life lesson. What else happened? Oh, one other thing that was cool was sort of completely unrelated, was I went to a drive-in improv show. If you've ever been to an improv comedy show, they're super fun. I feel like I went to zero before I moved to LA, so I don't know if it was a different time or if it's just different by city or whatever. But I think big cities, Boston, New York, LA, like they all should have improv schools or whatever. So it shouldn't be too hard to find an improv show, but it was just fun to see like a drive-in one. So all the performers had microphones, and they would broadcast over the radio. So you drive in, tune your radio to the show, and then watch the show. And they had these big projector screens too. It was fun. It was fun to do that. And more so, it was fun to see human beings innovate in a weird situation, coronavirus, social distancing, quarantining, whatever the hell you want to call it. They were they were problem solving. So that was kind of fun. The reason I laugh at problem solving, there used to be a commercial on TV for the Army Reserves. And I remember this specifically because when I was watching my Saturday morning cartoons, it was on like all the fucking time. It was they were trying to make the Army Reserves look cool as shit. They're trying to get people to sign up. So they show a group of soldiers in the jungle somewhere, and then they show like a group of like other soldiers in like Humvees and shit. They have all these supplies. And then the voiceover comes on, and I'm pretty sure it was the general from Armageddon. And he goes, "You have to get supplies to a group of soldiers. The only problem is they're on the other side of a river. What do you do?" And when I was a little kid watching this, I'd be like, try to like inflate a raft or something, build a raft so that they can float the shit across, or go find a bridge on the other side of the river, or like see if there's any troops in the area that have like an airdrop that can drop the shit or whatever. And he goes, "You have to get supplies to a group of troops. They're on the other side of a river. What do you do? Build a bridge." And it shows like this super, like, I don't even know what you call it, like a gigantic, a road-sized platform, like unfolding like it's an Iron Man thing, or like it's a Transformers thing or whatever. And like this bridge just like splashes into the water, and these Humvees just go zooming up over the thing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Build a bridge? And then he goes, "Build a bridge. Problem solving. Learn it now in the Army Reserves." And even as a little kid, and I know that like that's a cool thought, and shout out to the Army Reserves. I know you guys are real cool. I'm like making fun of a commercial of yours from 20 years ago. Even then, I was like, problem solving? Is that really problem solving, or is that like the type of problem solving you want to like brag about? Like, that is impossibly stupid, and to call it problems, and probably impossible. And like, I don't know much about the military supply chain at this point, but I don't know if they have like bridges lying around. Build a bridge? It's like I just thought it was so stupid. And I always thought, so whenever someone says problem solving, I'm like, yeah, build a bridge. Like the dumbest solution to a problem that actually would work. It's like you're in a house and it's on fire. What do you do? Create rain. like, hey man, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, you're in the car, but there's traffic. What do you do? Like, invent a jetpack. Problem solving. Learn it now in the Army Reserve. It was beautiful, but also just like dumb. Anyway, problem solving. I obviously haven't done one of these in a while, so it was a little different. I wanted to leave it open for Q&A. So if you have any questions about anything at all, we'll do an Ask Max, whatever you Ask Max, whatever, AMW, Ask Max anything, AMA, whatever. Leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll get to a couple next episode. But for this one, I asked on my Instagram. What's your favorite healthy snack that's sweet? Watermelon. That's a really, really good one. Pineapple's really good. The problem is you got to chop them up right away. But having a lot of watermelon is key, and having it already cut up and just like in your fridge. Because a lot of times what happens to me is you open the fridge, or you get hungry and you just like walk over to the cabinet, you walk over to the fridge, back to the cabinet, back to the fridge. And you're just like, ugh, whatever, fine. A handful of, Reese's Puffs from cereal from like 5 years ago. That'll do. But having the watermelon there, you're like, oh, nice, sick. And also watermelon fills up your stomach because there's a lot of water in it. and melon, I think. But if you have it cut up, that's a high level move. Craziest place you've had sex, in the butt? No, that's so weird. That's actually an old joke from. It's a combination of The Ladies' Man, which was a skit on Saturday Night Live, and Mallrats. When they kept saying, it was like a running joke that I didn't think was that good, but they repeated it so much that it like drilled itself into my mind. They said like she had sex in a very uncomfortable place. And I think they were implying anal sex, but in reality, I think they were talking about like. So then other people would say like, oh, like in the back of a VW Beetle, or like, oh, you mean like in an elevator, or like, oh, like outside in a hot parking lot, or you know what I mean. So they like twisted it around. It was very clever, but like not exactly. And then Leon Phelps, the ladies' man, one of my favorite characters on Saturday Night Live, is so funny. They go, he's interviewing for a job. He's on someone's reading his resume, job interview, and he goes, under interests, I see you've written debit, and Leon goes, oh no, that's a debut. You love to see it. Interests, the butt. And then we'll do this one. Actually, this is a good one to sort of close out on, since we'll bring it back full circle. What is your ethnicity? What is your favorite part about it? My ethnicity, my mother is half Chinese and half Austrian. My father is half Armenian and half, I don't know, German, Ohio, I guess. So I'm a bit of a mix. I never exactly, I mean, I guess I'm a white guy, but I don't feel like a white guy. But I think more importantly, especially in the light of what's going on today, is I've never been, whether or not I am a white guy, and who's really to say, other than fucking that thing where you send your spit in a bottle and they give you your 37 DNA tests or whatever. I haven't been discriminated against in any way, or, you know, it's only when people sort of figure out that I'm something that they gently try to make fun of me. And at that point, I'm like, fuck you, dude. I don't give a shit. Like to make fun of me for being Chinese or Armenian, I guess, or those are the two big ones. Or at least the like distinctive ones. It's only happened a couple of times, and I didn't handle it very well. But it was also like, if I hadn't said anything, you wouldn't have known. So I don't really as non-homogenous, I guess, as ethnic or non-ethnic as I may or may not be. I've never felt like it's been a drawback, and I've never felt attacked for it, unless. And if I was attacked for it, it was easy for me to be like, fuck you, dude, go away. So I don't really have any sort of plight. But I've been very blessed to have sort of learn about different cultures and different people and different ways of thinking in different parts of the world. And, you know, it's I'm very, very lucky, I think, to have such a mix like that. And to answer your original question, what's the best part about it? Pretty obvious, the food. I mean, that's two of the best foods there that, you know, you can get. Fucking Chinese food, forget about it. Armenian food is unbelievable. If you ever get the chance, go get yourself, I mean, even just the rice pilaf. Well, first of all, get yourself some lahmacuns. Amazing. Very thin. It's like a soft-ish pizza, dry, tremendous, amazing. And then for dessert, you can have some baklava, which is sweet. And then the rice, even just the rice pilaf. And my grandmother told me this, and I'll never forget it. It's very, very insightful. The rice pilaf is tremendous. It's the best. And we're at this Armenian restaurant, and she's sitting there. She's like, you know, it's always funny when people ask me, people say like, man, the rice pilaf is so good. Like, what's the secret ingredient? I was like, oh, what's the secret ingredient? And she goes, 8 sticks of butter. So if your rice pilaf sucks, what do? Add 8 sticks of butter. Problem solving. Learn it now on the MaxBang. All right, that's it for this week. Stay good. Let me know what's going on in your life in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Problem solving.